day for you?
Yeah, fairly busy, but I had a busy week. We'll have numbers coming up a little bit later, I guess. John will come and join us. So this is Lucky 13, our Lucky 13th episode.
It is.
You know, some people skip like the 13th episode because they're superstitious, or they skip the 13th floor when they build, you know, a high rise or different things like that. But not us.
Not
we're
us.
pouring right through because we're not going to be superstitious.
Just throw some salt over our shoulder quick.
Yeah, we won't do anything like that because we're not superstitious at all. So let's see. What was I going to say? So we've got moms coming up with invoicing stuff, and Johnny's going to join us soon. Drew will be here again. People make comments from time to time, and we encourage people to make comments for the podcast. And some of our regular viewers of the podcast make comments. They're people that we know locally here, and one is BJ Ruland. And he had a question for us in the comments.
He did.
And so I just thought maybe what we should do is just give him a call. He doesn't know we're going to give him a call. But maybe we should give him a call and just, his question was, you want to try him?
So how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to, because if I call him, we're going to want to put him into
put him on the
speaker.
speakerphone right up by your face there.
But I hope he's going to be able to hear you. So
I'll just talk loud.
We'll give it a whirl. See if he picks up.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll be. But his question was, what company is the largest tire manufacturer in the world? He's into, automotive repair and such. So
you want me to
let's try
him up?
I mean,
all right.
So you got to make sure you tell him that he's being recorded because that's a legal thing. Calling BJ Ruland.
Phoning a friend.
Come on, BJ. Pick up. Come on, BJ.
He'll probably tell me to call he'll text me and tell me to call the
main
shop.
line.
Yeah.
BJ isn't taking calls today.
He's probably so busy.
Yeah.
Please don't leave a message as I don't pay attention to the voicemail because the notifications never go away. Thank you.
Okay, great.
There he is.
Okay, there's BJ, and so he doesn't usually follow his.
Yeah. Do you want me to try to give his?
Try his.
Do you know what his phone number is there?
795.
We will probably cut this out so BJ doesn't get a whole bunch of.
Yeah. Oh, he'll get fan mail and
just all sorts
calls.
of people.
795-2500.
Oh, nice.
Doing like we do when we go to the mound, talk behind our.
Let me do this.
You have to go 1608, probably.
Damon, please cut all of that out. Not cut it out, but if you can mute when Dad says that stuff, please do that. All the numbers.
Yeah. So again, we're trying to get a hold of
it's
BJ.
The 2500.
Yep.
Yeah.
Willie.
Hey, BJ, it's Hudson.
Hey, Huddy.
Hey, right now we are recording our original father-son voiceover podcast, so you're live on it right now.
No.
Yeah, you are. We wanted to include you because of the question you asked us about the tires. So Dad's going to ask you, we didn't research it, but we figured you knew the answer since you're the car guy, and we wanted to include you on this. So.
All right, fire away.
All right, here you go. Can you
hear me, BJ? So here
I gotcha.
So here was the question you asked, and you did give me an insider's view on it, so I could look smart. But I just thought, well, I'll just ask you so you can look smart. So what company you asked is the largest tire manufacturer in the world? And I thought it was like BF Goodrich or Firestone or something like that. But you had a unique answer. What was that?
Lego, really?
Lego. The Lego products, the Lego company that builds the building bricks that all the kids play with, is set a Guinness Book of World Records. I don't remember the specific year, but they are the largest tire manufacturer in the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
I guess if you want to get technical, obviously they're not an automotive tire manufacturer, but they do make little rubber tires that go on plastic wheels that go on toys that kids build.
That's impressive. I didn't know that at all, of course, but I definitely took it as in automotive, but I think that those are rubber tires, so I think that counts.
It's a trick question, for sure.
What were the two, BJ, what were the two, the ones that we would normally think of? You told me those when I stopped by your shop this week. What were those that people would normally think, whether those the largest tire companies?
It varies year to year who's the number one, but I know Michelin, Bridgestone, which is Bridgestone and Firestone, and Goodyear are usually your top three manufacturers for automotive or vehicle tires. I'd have to actually look and see which year who's number one. It kind of bounces around a little bit, but they don't hold a candle to Lego.
No.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being a good sport. We're going to black out your number that we talked about prior, because we don't want you to get all sorts of fan phone calls and from our tens and tens of viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to be swamped with a whole new fan base.
I don't know if that'll be a problem, but we'll do it just in case.
Absolutely.
Thanks, BJ.
Thanks, BJ. Talk to you soon.
You bet. Have a great day, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
There you have it. There's BJ Ruland.
Yep.
He's also on our baseball team. He's one of the assistant coaches for our home talent baseball team. So,
Yeah. So
good friend of ours.
yeah. So anyway, shout out to BJ and all the folks locally.
And to Lego.
And yeah, right. So that's the answer to the question. Maybe you saw it in the comments section of our podcast. Again, if you have people have comments or questions or questions about our family, questions about our business, questions about
You can ask all sorts of questions.
Yeah,
You
we'll
can
try to
say,
answer
what's your favorite color? Or who would win in a wrestling match, Dad or I? It doesn't matter. We'll obviously go through them and pick which ones we like, but ask away. We don't care.
Right. And I would probably say I would win in a wrestling match, and you would probably say you would, but I would have to back down because there's no way I would want to wrestle you at this point. So that would probably be the answer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sounds good. Well, is that all we've got for today?
I think it is.
All right.
We better get started.
Let's get started.
Hey, this is Bill DeWees, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And this is the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast, where father and son talk about all things voiceover and maybe a little bit more. Today is our 13th episode, and Dad is going to start us off with some Todd's tips.
Yeah, we've been doing a continuing subject, which is an anatomy of direct email marketing. VO Marketing Pro is a company that myself and the boys and my wife, Becky, started a couple of years ago. It's growing. It's doing very well. And it focuses on direct email marketing. And that's where I built most of my voiceover business and where I still get probably 75% of my income. And so we've been talking about an anatomy of direct email marketing. The first week, and by the way, you can check out our videos for the last couple of weeks. We have lots of videos, but you can check them out. And the first week was the direct email marketing foundational mindsets. We gave 4 of them. Those are critical. The second one was just a 3-pronged direct email marketing strategy, just kind of an overall strategy. And so those are on YouTube. They're on our Facebook page, on VO Marketing Pro's Facebook page, and I think on the Father-Son, Original Father-Son Voiceover podcast page. So we're in video number 3 out of 4. And today I just want to talk with you, get into the weeds just a little bit more and talk about some practical direct email marketing steps. And so I'm going to follow my notes here a little bit so I can go as quickly as possible and not get off task. So some practical direct email marketing steps, and you're doing it. You've been doing it for about a year, so jump in whenever you want to, but I'll just go blast through this a little bit and we'll see what happens. So step 1, when you're doing direct email marketing, what you want to do is identify and find the recipient. Sounds kind of logical and commonsensical, but what we do is we Google is your friend. That's your assistant when you're trying to find work for direct email marketing. And what I've had my assistant do, and what VO Marketing Pro does, is you find the recipient, a video production company, ad agency, voice roster, media producer. What I've had Andy do, my assistant, is just take the top 10 cities. We're talking about the United States at this point. You can do it globally. Take the top 10 cities in each of the major top 10 cities in the United States, and then just go down from there. And all you have to do is type in video production companies in Los Angeles. Well, you're just going to get pages and pages and pages. And I'll go through this in step number 2, but that's the first starting point, is just use keywords, video production company, ad agency, voice roster, and just that's step number 1. Step number 2 is identify, when you go to the website of these video production companies and such, those people that hire voiceover talent, then just identify and find a contact person. It might be the owner, if it's just a small ma and pa thing. It might be a producer or a creative director, the person there that hires voiceover talent. That's what you want to find. And if it's possible, everybody likes to see their name. They like to hear their name. They like to see their name. And so if at all possible, just put in either the subject line or at least in the content, "Hi, Jim." If you can't find a specific name and it's ABC, for instance, hypothetically, ABC Video Production Company, put "Hi, ABC Video Production Company team," something like that, so that it looks legit. It doesn't look spamish. It looks like you've actually gone to their website, which you have, and that you've searched around a little bit and done some homework. It's not just you've purchased this from somebody.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Or some
just a little, like you said, just ABC production company,
Exactly.
ABC media team, or "Hi, Jim." Even just the name makes it look better than just "Hi." It looks a little
exactly.
Anyway.
And when you're doing your subject line, which is really important, your subject line, don't be cutesy. Don't try to have it be clickbait. Just tell them exactly what you want. Are you accepting voiceover demos? Or, "Hi, this is Todd Barsness. Are you looking for a trustworthy, genuine male voiceover talent?" Just something like that, so that they know exactly what they're opening if they do open it. So as part of this identifying and contacting this person, there's a couple of other things. Try to personalize the direct email in 2 simple ways. I've already gone over this, so I'll just say it once again, and that is contact person, if you can get a name. Second of all, if you can't, just get the production company's name and use, video production team. Don't write a novel. You don't want it to be long. Nobody cares about the name of your dog, or even maybe that you've worked with 50 different Fortune 500 companies. Maybe you mention a few, maybe not. Get to the demo links right away, as quickly as you can. Don't make them scroll down as they read your novel. Have those links very quickly be seen right at the top. And then try to limit the clicks. In other words, don't have them, we encourage people not to have them go to your website and then look around for your commercial demo and then press on your commercial demo and then have to press again. Because if you can get them to click once onto your email, that's going to be quite a trick. Second, if you can get them to click on a demo or a sample, that's about as much clicking as you want. 2, maybe 3, because people are busy and
they don't want to have to strain for it.
They're going to just
to be
blow,
quick.
Yep, they're going to blow through it. And so include your contact information, your website links, logo, etc. But, and there's different philosophies out there, and I get this. Mm-hmm. There's different philosophies, and we just have to understand some of the pros and cons. And I won't go through all of them, but I'm just going to tell you what I think. Don't go overboard on personalizing your emails. The reason is it's a numbers game, and you're probably not going to be clicked on at all. So you have to think that way. And if you spend 30 minutes or 45 minutes looking through their website and trying to find out their hobbies and their dog's name and their kid's name, which is all fine if that's what you want to do. I don't do that. And the reason I don't is just like I said, most of my emails don't get clicked on. They just get deleted.
So why would you waste that time looking through all that stuff if they're not going to click on it?
If they click on it, I'll tell you, that might do something for them.
Sure.
You know, if you say, hey, I was at your website, this certain video that you did really caught my attention. I thought you did well. It did this and this. And you actually take like 4 or 5 sentences to explain something you saw or some interesting tidbit on their website, something that really personalizes it. And they click on that. That might really do the trick. They might say, wow, this person is thorough. I like this person. They went to the trouble to do this. But most of them aren't going to be read. And even if they are read, what they're looking for, if they're looking for voiceover talent, they're looking, what does this person sound like? And a lot of times it's, hey, we've got a project, great timing. What does this person sound like? Does it fit the bill? And so I kind of put in my Todd's tough love there, squeezed it in there. But I'm just being fairly firm with people when I talk with them and I coach them about direct email marketing, because a lot of people want to personalize it. Mm-hmm. And I say personalize it, but only in a small way that's going to give you opportunity to send out larger numbers. Because if you have an hour every day to spend for direct email marketing and you spend it all on one and that person just deletes it, you could have done 5 or 10 in that hour, and maybe you'd get 1 click or 2 clicks. And then at least you got it opened. So there's different thoughts and different ideas there, but that's what I do. And that's how I've been successful, is numbers game over the long haul. Numbers game over the long haul. So next week, we're going to talk about the content of direct email marketing, and we'll repeat some of the things that we said, but maybe talk a little bit more in detail about these things.
All right. Thank you for your Todd's tips. Those are things that I do, obviously, because I'm just following your footsteps. So a lot of that stuff is I'm putting that in practice. I'm not the most creative person, so that didn't really, less is more for me always. So that's kind of just plug and play for me, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
so
it's a good point.
Anyway. Well, should we get to our numbers?
Yep.
All right. What we do is John, the lone couch potato, will start off with VOMP numbers.
Okay. So we had 42. We had 42 warm responses.
Doing math on camera.
Yeah. Joe likes to do the check marks. So sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So 42. And then we had 15 auditions. Like I say, a lot of times we're waiting on a lot of those. And then 5 jobs, not including any of yours. So Kim Wilson, Mike Hathcote, Noel Romano times 3. And then I guess we have more because last second here we got a check with the check-in, Friday check-in. We know that Christine Brito received 2 jobs this week.
Wow.
So I think it's kind of the same. It was at the same time, but I think it was 2 scripts, so we consider that too. So it was really, I guess, 7. So
7 jobs this week. That's
a pretty good week.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I will mention one other thing that was kind of exciting that we hear from time to time. We had a guy today we got an email from a company, a video production company, that wanted to get a quote from somebody in our group. And he started in February of 2021. and it was from that month. That's the first time that the video production company responded to his email. So one time they were keeping him in mind. They were doing a warm response without responding. And they were keeping this guy in mind. And so he sent out a quote, I believe, this afternoon. And so we're waiting to hear back on that. But that's just proof that there's emails sitting out there. There's opportunities sitting out there. And like, he's been with us for a year. So he has more opportunities because of the length of time. So long haul. And then just know that you might not get something back the first day, obviously. You might not get something back the week or a month right afterwards. Right. It might be they are keeping you in mind.
They just haven't said it.
The opportunity hasn't come up, and they just haven't said it. So we're waiting back to hear about how that went. But hopefully early next week we'll hear good news from him on booking that job.
This is going to sound like a one-up, but it's really not. It's just meant to make sure that this is driven home. Andy, my assistant, contacted me with a warm response, a possible job from 2018. I can't remember what month it was. But the person was responding not to all the follow-ups every 3 months after that in 2019, 20, 21, and part of 22, but to that original email.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I
don't know why.
The first one, the first thread.
Well,
it wasn't the whole.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it just landed. Maybe I don't know, but maybe we had contacted them earlier, maybe 2016 or 2017, but the person responded to the 2018 and not to anyone around that. So I don't know why. I don't know if they just said, oh, this guy's voice sounds good, I'll just put him in a folder, and then they kept me in mind. But the point being is, your point is there's emails out there.
Yep.
A lot of them get deleted. A lot of them get forgotten. But there are some that we forget.
Yep.
Or think that have been forgotten or deleted that aren't actually.
Yeah.
And there's gold out there to be mined. And sometimes we don't even know when that's going to happen. Case in point for you, case in point for me, and that happens regularly too.
Yep.
I had something like that too. But do you find that in the summer, things seem to ramp up? People are more like video production companies, ad agencies, places like that. They have more projects they're getting out there, or do you find another time that's a little bit more busy? Because we had 7 jobs at VOMP today. I had a lot of warm replies this week, and I also I have a thing coming up, a possible job opportunity.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It seems like, depending on what genre, like if it's e-learning and such, they seem to kind of, because it takes them longer to ramp up and do all of their instructional design and get everything in order, they seem to kind of end toward the end of the year, and then it takes them a few months to get kind of ramped up. But if you're doing a lot of commercial work and things like that, it might be around holidays. I personally find that January, February aren't that busy, and typically toward the end. But the times in the Midwest when you kind of like to be not busy in the summers, May, June, July, August, that's when I'm the busiest. That's when I'm stuck down in my studio, which is fine. I'm fine to do that. It's just kind of funny. I would almost think that people would be going on more vacations and doing less, which that happens. But I personally, over the last 10 years, I'm busier in the times when I would like to not be busy, and in the winter months when you're stuck inside, I'm not quite as busy. So I don't really know. That's a long way around to say I'm not sure I know.
Yeah, and with those, after the numbers, one last thing I will say that we probably will see. I've mentioned this in many of our updates times with the podcast, that we do pay attention to holidays and things like that, and we try not to waste any emails, if you will, around those times. So there might be a little bit of a slowdown because there's lots of people we're seeing sometimes that we're getting lots of out of office things, and so we're always monitoring that. And because of the 4th of July, it will slow down just a bit, probably maybe next week and stuff like that. So just a forewarning that that's just kind of typical. But I agree that it seems like after 4th of July, sometimes with you, in my experience working with you as your assistant some in the past, that it does seem to ramp up a fair amount after the 4th of July too. So we'll see. Hopefully that happens.
I think you get ready. I'm getting ready. I think you get ready for a fairly slow week you know, the couple of days before the 4th of July. What is it? Is it on a Monday?
Yep.
And so I think, and then people, it just seems like it takes them a few days to kind of
Get the cobwebs out from vacation.
Yeah. So I would plan a week. Typically, I plan a week where I'm going to not be, you know, very busy. And then, of course, there's Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's. It takes a little bit of time. But July 4th is a fairly big, that's kind of a big celebration for people. Almost everybody does something for that, camping, whatever. So one of the things I was going to say was sometime we got to have John up here for an interview about VO Marketing Pro and the 4 levels that we have. You know, the personal assistant, the total care. Those are both invite only, but we also have a starter kit, and then we have DIY videos that my assistant Andy put together. And those, if you have more time than money, then those would be, or you're starting out or don't have a pro demo, those would be the ones that you want to look into as you start to ramp up doing some direct email marketing. But sometime maybe we can, you know, we did mom this week, or we're doing mom this week. And then last week, as far as, you know, interviewing her about invoicing, and, you know, you're a resource as far as VO Marketing Pro. I think that would be good for us if you'd be willing to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry, and invited him onto your podcast.
Who?
The father-son podcast.
This is free and easy. Anybody can be on this.
Yeah, we had BJ earlier.
Yeah, we had BJ.
Oh, he called?
I called him
Oh,
because
nice.
of the tire question that he asked. He said, who's the top manufacturer or whatever?
Yeah, I remember that. No, yep.
Any guesses? It's not. Okay.
I'm going to say, so it was about Goodyear, right? Was about something with Drew's
Something,
fax kit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he
I'm
asked
gonna
about
guess
what the...
Michelin or Firestone.
So there's kind of a trick question. So it's actually Lego because of all the little Lego wheels that they for the building blocks. Yeah, BJ said that. And then also it's Firestone, which is also Bridgestone.
Yeah, I think so. Michelin is up there too. So
there.
you named
BF
the ones that would
Goodrich.
typically, you know, you think about automobile
Depends
or
on
truck.
the year, BJ said.
Yeah,
So.
but Lego is the biggest, you know, tire manufacturer with all those little toys and stuff.
Anyway, thought that was interesting. So
go ahead if you want your
all right,
numbers.
my numbers. I actually had some this week. I had 15 warm responses.
Nice.
And those weren't part of your guys' warm responses.
Yeah, so I guess
did
that'd be 57 warm responses if we include you.
Yeah, and I had 4, so 61 total.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's good.
Good week. And then I had one audition. I haven't technically gotten, they've asked me to do a sample for them, but I haven't gotten it yet. It's from the UK, so our times are off a little bit. But they have some commercials for me to do. So I'm hoping to do a sample for them and stuff like that. So haven't done that yet. Anyway, Fiverr, I had 4 jobs this week on Fiverr. Monday, I had 5 inquiries, which was like all of a sudden out of nowhere. And then it went quiet. Like whenever I do have inquiries, it's like one day it's like, and then all of a sudden it's just nothing. But I got 3 jobs out of those, and then a return from another person on there. So they wanted to add something, so they set up an order and got another $8 from them. So I did $104 on Fiverr, nothing on Upwork, and then I did
ask about Upwork.
Yeah, I've done a lot of auditioning on there.
Good. They might still be out there then.
There's
possible.
There's a lot of them out there, yeah. And then editing, I did 4 hours this week for you, which is $80. And then I did some stuff for the database for you guys. So that's another thing that I do for VOMP and stuff from India. So altogether, I made $204. And
So you bounced back.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
if I would have made $1, I would have bounced back. So looking forward to, you know, that job that's possibly out there because it's 10 videos. And I'll just say, if I do get it, it'll be the largest amount of money I've made on one set of jobs or with one client. So I'm hoping for the best with that. So I'll keep people posted on that and see what happens.
Last week I mentioned that I had had the lowest week since January of 2021. So what is that? A year and a half. Well, this week we bounced back, which was nice. I had Andy, my assistant, has been using a keyword that he got a tip from somebody in France that in Europe using Sound Company. not video production company, sound company. So he's been using that, and he's gotten some inquiries about that. I have to fill out a voice roster thing for one German company, and I've had 2 other inquiries from German companies using the sound company keyword. I had a desire for an inquiry of a bid from a Tulsa, Oklahoma TV, 2 TV spots. I told them that I would do it typically for $250 each, but I'd be flexible because I'd like to work with them. Haven't heard back from them yet. And also just a little note there, they did have the script there, and she didn't say anything about it, but I gave her 2 takes of each commercial, just because I thought that would be good. So we'll see. And then I have I don't have this in yet because when I'm done here, I've got to go start to get work on a huge e-learning project that's $1,300 for next year. And you're going to be, or next week, and you're going to be doing some of the editing for that.
Wonderful.
So my week was the platform's $1,600, so $1,600 even. Direct email marketing was $6,658.35 for a total of $8,258.35. $8,258.35. So I was glad that we bounced back from last week. Get back up there.
I would be too. I forgot to mention that we talked about it this week, and I didn't know about the 2 things, yours from 2018 and what was it, 2021 of February?
February, yep.
I had sent out to a guy in 2021, July 19th.
That's right.
And got right back to me the next day with a warm response, and I hadn't heard anything at all. They said they'd keep me in mind, and that's what that those 10 videos are a chance at. So almost a year ago.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's the week of the, of the past for us.
Yeah,
so
right.
Anyway, I forgot to mention that, but it's been almost a year since I've heard anything from them, and then they have something. So it was nice to hear that they had kept me in mind. So I sent them my demos, my updated demos, because it's been a year. So hopefully I've gotten better in their eyes. Maybe they like my old one better.
No,
Anyway.
I think you have. You've improved it, so that's good. Yeah.
Anyway, thought I'd throw that in there quick.
That's all I've got. Thanks, Johnny.
Well, yeah, that's our numbers for this week.
Well, we're so glad that you're joining us for the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast, and we'll get back to the podcast in just a minute. I just wanted to take a moment, a brief break from the podcast to talk about some business friends of ours and tell you what they're up to, tell you what they have to offer. The first one is Bill DeWees. Bill is a friend of our podcast, a sponsor. He's also our podcast voice. Bill is a 16-year veteran of voiceover. He is a career coach, and he's probably the closest thing to an expert in voiceover, all things voiceover, as I've ever met. And so if you want to find out more about his teaching and training programs called the Voiceover Blueprint, we have a link below, and just check that out. It's good for the newbies, if you're just starting out, people that are a little bit more established and, kind of getting going, and those people that, have been doing this a long time. There's something there for everybody. It's called the Voiceover Blueprint. Second of all, Bill's daughter, Mallory, she's doing really wonderfully on the platform Fiverr. And she's done a 4-part series, actually is doing that right now. And it's also recorded, so you can join at any time and be a part of that. And it's on just how to be successful on the platform of Fiverr. So that link will be there as well. I know Mallory is set to make well over $100,000 this year, I think in the $120,000 mark, doing it part-time as a stay-at-home mom and a voiceover talent. And so you might want to check out that as well, as Mallory has a good handle on Fiverr. Then the last member of the DeWees family is Alex DeWees, and Hudson and I have both benefited from Alex's audio engineering techniques and expertise. And so there's a link there also for Alex DeWees. If you need some help setting up your studio, figuring out equipment, getting your audio processed and such. So take advantage of those links. I know they'll be helpful for you. Now let's get back to more of the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast.
Hello, this is the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast, and we've got a little something different for us today. Obviously, it's Dad and I, but we've got Mom, Becky Barsness here, who helps Dad out with getting all of his money for all the jobs that he does, saying it pretty plain. So Dad's going to take over, and they're going to talk a little bit about what they do to make sure they get paid. So go ahead.
So, we always talk a lot about getting work because we focus a lot on direct email marketing. And that's what VO Marketing Pro does. It tries to get people work consistently, get clients so you can get work. So there's three things. There's getting work, there's doing work, and then there is getting paid for the work that you do. So it's important, obviously, to get the work because you can't do the work if you don't get the work. And it's important to do the work and, of course, do a good job. But then third, it's important to make sure that you get paid for the work that you do. I know, not to go off on a tangent here right away, but I know there's a local businessman that I remember telling me years ago, he was very small business, but he had like $5,000 on the books. And he was probably only, maybe getting paid for $7,000 or $8,000. So well over half of his money was on the books. And a lot of it was because he didn't know how to do it, didn't have a good system. He didn't like that part of collecting money. And I don't know of too many people that really like collecting money, except for Mom. Mom kind of likes it, don't you?
Yeah, I've grown to like it.
Well, then go ahead.
It's easy to like getting your money. It's not fun in the fact that you have to remind people sometimes and you feel a little bit like you're annoying them, but it is nice to, when you've done a job, then you send out an invoice or a reminder because it's like, well, looking forward to that money, cha-ching, going into my bank account. So anyway.
And I think it's the way that we've decided to make sure we get paid. There's a system, not only the kind of the actual system that we do, but it's also the mentality that we have of, staying on top of it so that it doesn't get out of hand, keeping on top of it. And then, of course, treating clients properly. And we'll discuss that throughout this interview. And I say we because I don't really have that much to do with it. You do the vast, vast majority and do a great job. But we started my voiceover business in August of 2011. And at that point, our oldest son, John, we didn't have a ton of work, but he was sending out invoices on my behalf. And the system was very simple. And maybe you could just kind of highlight what we did back then, because you took over for that. And it was simple for a fair amount of years after that until we started to really grow. So maybe you can do that and I can help you remember some things. But I know you've got some notes there too, so feel free to check those out.
Yeah. Jonathan started out by just having a simple Word document invoice. And the invoice would, of course, be billed once the project was completed. And then he had 3 folders. He had an unsent folder, which the invoice would go into once it had been billed. And then there was a sent folder and then a paid folder. And we send invoices out once a week. And, that's not set in stone. People sometimes will ask for the invoice to be sent right away. But in a general way, it was once a week. And so once the invoice was sent, it was then put into the sent folder. And once the invoice was paid, it went into the paid folder. And at that point in time, we just noted on there the date that it was paid, the amount, and the invoice number. And then that just made it nice and simple.
I think a lot of people, which isn't a bad thing, do what you want to do. But a lot of people think that they have to have some sort of an electronic thing that's real, easy to use, which is, again, it's fine. But we used just spreadsheets and Word document.
That's what I use.
I don't. Time. You still do?
Because I don't have a whole lot of, a lot of my clients are good at paying me.
Right.
And so when I send out an invoice, it's for just my direct email clients because Fiverr and Upwork take care of doing that for me. They keep track of it. They keep track of how much they take. stuff like that. So at this point, I don't have, like you guys, a lot of different clients that maybe some of them are a little bit slower at getting it out, or they are busy, so they forget. So I haven't had a whole lot of experience with having to remind. So mine's a little bit less detailed than yours is, probably because I just don't have as many clients right now, but I do the same thing.
But you want to keep it, I think you want to keep it as simple as possible, especially when it can be simple. And so that's what we did, just kind of did it the old-fashioned way. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention before we move on to that second part?
Yeah, and I guess, again, it fit into our motto, if you were, or our wordage of, if you have more time than money, which is what we had in the very beginning, then this is a great thing to get started with, and it's not real complicated. And so, yeah, that's what we did.
Because Word document usually comes on Microsoft, or you can get it for cheap, and other types of automated things, like in our case, QuickBooks, which we'll talk about shortly, that costs monthly. And it's not ridiculous, but at that point we had more time than money. And so we would use the time to actually type those Word documents out, put them in different folders, and then keep track of them. Now QuickBooks does more automated stuff for us, which is nice when you're billing more. So I guess I wanted to move to that second part in our minds of getting paid. So our business started to grow. And by 2016, so basically 5 years later, that's when I cracked 100,000, 6 figures. And so in 2016, I made 137,000. In 2017, it was $201,000. And in 2018, it jumped up to $211,000. And it was at that point, 2018, and it kind of hits me a little bit that wasn't that long ago that we switched over to an automated thing. You were doing a lot of work, because that's a lot of clients to do work for. So we went to a little bit more of something that we needed to handle all of this growth in our business. We started to have more money than time. And so what did we went to QuickBooks.
Yep,
Explain a little bit about what we do with that.
Yeah, we went with QuickBooks. And the one thing nice, at least about QuickBooks, is that when you first start, you get like a 6 month, you get 50% off for starting out for the first 6 months. And I think it was like $25 for the first 6 months. And then it goes up. I don't even remember what it is right now. But it worked well for linking your invoice payments to the bank, to your bank. And there's just ease of use for the clients, because they can pay via a debit card or a credit card, and it also does bank transfers. So that just made it real nice and easy for us. And then not only did we have QuickBooks, but we also had an accountant woman that took care of checking all of the deposits that came in, all of the expenses that come in. And so when it came to tax time, all of that was already figured for us, separated by expenses and income. And that just made it even more simple for us. And then again, we were able to pay for that because we had more money than time. So that was probably the long and short of QuickBooks.
QuickBooks also allows you to, like on the dashboard or on the front page, and I'm familiar with this because sometimes I'll check, it will have several categories, and you'll have to help me out if you can remember. But one is like paid for that month, and one is unpaid, and what's on the books, those types of things. And that's kind of helpful too when you're invoicing a lot of money. And it reminds you, doesn't it? Or you can set a reminder. You can also do automated, like if you're working with somebody regularly, you can have that made out to them. You don't have to type it out each and every time and separate things. There is some management of it, but not only does it work with your bank, but you can print reports. Like I'll ask you for reports. I just asked you for one this last Friday, and you shot it out right away. Is how much have I made with voices.com, because I wanted to tell people that I was putting more effort because Fiverr was going down a little bit. And I wanted to see, what have I made?
Yeah.
And I'm getting closer to my 2021 amount already. And it's June of 2022. And so I'm just working harder at that. But you were able to produce that for me very quickly. So I don't know if there's anything more to say about that, but it does give you some statistics, some information, and you can do a lot of filters and run reports and different things like that, that's helpful when you have a lot of money out there.
Yeah, and I think when we talk more, when we get a little bit farther as far as collections is concerned, I probably would add a little bit more as far as what QuickBooks has to offer to help with your collections.
Well, let's talk about that, because it doesn't matter what kind of billing system you have. Collecting isn't always the most fun because, one, it takes organization and discipline. And second of all, we as creative people don't always like the business side of things. We don't like the marketing side of things. We wish that people would just come to our door or email in this case and give us information. And we don't like collecting money because a lot of people don't. We like getting paid. We like getting paid, but we don't like the process of having. And so I'm very grateful for you because you're a real detailed person. I like to be behind the mic and I like to manage people. Those are my two strengths. You like details and you're very good at it. And so that was important. So tell us a little bit about, you just mentioned it, how QuickBooks helps you with that billing, all of the billing, and helps you stay organized and whatever you want to say about that.
Yeah, as far as once the invoice has been sent, you can actually see whether or not it's been viewed, when it's been viewed. Sometimes it's pretty funny. Sometimes people view it like 25 times in the same day. I'm not real sure how that happens, but you can actually track whether it's been viewed or not. And so that helps you when you're going to send out a reminder letter. But one of the things that I had to change my mind about when I was doing collections was just my frame of mind, which a couple different things would go through my mind, like, I don't understand why these people aren't paying us, or these people owe us money and I want them to pay us. But one of the things that Todd just talked with me about is realizing that people in general, they want to pay their bills and they want to be trusted. And they don't want someone to send them a reminder that's putting pressure on them in a way that is going to make them uncomfortable. Just like Todd mentioned, people get busy. Their lives are busy. They forget. And maybe I know that people in the past have had QuickBooks invoices end up in their spam or their junk. Just because it comes from a different email, it doesn't always look like it's coming from us. And one individual mentioned that for some reason, their email server saw it as something that was not identified, and so it would block it. So changing my mind about that and realizing that just in general, people want to pay, thinking about the fact that I've forgotten to make a payment. And so just being welcoming with people when they don't pay, because we've just had great success with handling that way. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go forward.
Yeah,
but
I think we have this belief system in our minds to think the best about people. I know you can get burnt. It's the same thing that I don't require any money up front. Never have. People will once in a while say, well, do you want 50% up front? I'm talking about video production companies, people that hire me. And I say, no, I don't need that. You can pay me when. And I think that starts things out right at the right spot, because what you're saying to them is, I'm going to have a relationship with you. I trust you. You can trust me. And we're going to be business partners to help your end client. And I think that's just a wonderful way to start out. Do you get burned from time to time? Yeah. But
rare.
I mean, last year, we had, I think it was one job that we didn't get paid for.
Right.
That's $312,000 worth of invoices.
Yeah.
And we got it, maybe $300 or $400.
Yeah.
I can't even remember, but it wasn't that much. And that's, I mean, we're at
99.97.
Yeah, something like that of getting paid. But here's the thing. It's not just simply, we're just lucky. Mom is very systematic, very organized, very disciplined in staying in front of them, and we do it in such a way. We don't harangue them or, say, well, you haven't paid us yet. Come on, we're going to take you to court or whatever. That doesn't work ever anyway. And we don't want to treat people that way. But tell us a little bit about, your process. It's typically 30 days that we ask people to pay, which is standard. Sometimes for bigger companies, it might be 60 or sometimes even 90. But the vast majority is 30. But how do you go about, you obviously send them a QuickBooks fairly soon after the project. And that's very important because you want them to have you and the project top of mind when they're still thinking about it, when they're still excited about it, rather than, oh, I forgot to send them, an invoice 3 months ago. Well, they'll still probably pay you, but it's old, it's history in their mind.
Keeping it fresh.
Yeah, and they're getting paid from their end client, putting that money in the bank for that particular project, and so it's top of mind for them. So maybe there's some things you do and how you go about communicating with them. Maybe some things that you say. I know we're going to have some audio visuals that Damon's going to put on here. So maybe if there's something you want to mention with regard to that too.
Yeah. Again, like I said, each day I make out the invoice via QuickBooks, and depending on if it's a new client, QuickBooks. I'll just back up a minute. QuickBooks, when you send an invoice, there's just a sterile message in there, basically saying something to the client, and this is an invoice from Todd Barson's Voiceover Talent, and we appreciate your payment in a promptly fashion. I just don't send it out that way. When I make the invoice out, if it's a new client, then I let them know how nice it is to work with them. And I let them know that, if they have any questions regarding QuickBooks or any kind of payment method, just let me know. And then I send it out that way. If it's a client, that we've worked with for a long time, I might if we haven't worked with them for a while, I'll put a little note in there. But if it's someone we work with, let's just say 4 or 5 times a week, I'll send the invoice, and it can go out more sterile just because, again, I know them, we've worked with them, and I know that they're busy and they don't need to have, a little needy message from me. So I just send it out that way. And then once the invoice is received, you can actually see when it's been viewed, and it'll even let you know if it's been undeliverable. Again, that way, once the 30 days is up, you can take a look at the fact has that invoice even been viewed? Because there's been times when it hasn't. So you pretty much can understand that they haven't received it. Or maybe they have and they just haven't viewed it. So that helps you to make sure that the email you're sending out to them as a reminder is just going to be more centered on exactly what you want. And so when it comes to reminding them, I could send a reminder via QuickBooks, but I don't do that because, again, I want it to be an email from my email that is going to be something where I know the person and just let them know that, basically, this is Becky from Todd Barson's Voiceover Talent, and hope you're having a great day. Just checking in to see whether or not this invoice has been overlooked. If it has, no problem. Or if you have the client hasn't paid you, or it's your terms are more than net 30 days, just let us know. And again, no, this isn't grumpy. This is just to let you know that we'd like you to know that the payment hasn't been received. And many, many times people get right back and they say, I am so sorry, or what, I didn't get it, but it's. Or we'll just get a payment right away through QuickBooks, and the person is, again, very apologetic. And again, this isn't tooting my own horn, but I did receive an email back from a man that mentioned this has got to be one of the nicest collections letters I've ever received. Yep. And so, again, you just want people to know that you want to work with them, and that that'll get them coming back. And then there are times when we have had issues where we've contacted someone maybe 3 or 4 times and just not heard anything back. Or maybe they've said, oh yeah, basically the check is in the mail, but it just goes on and on. So we have 2 options. One is that after 3 or 4 back and forth, you just decide you're not going to continue to do that. You don't have the time or the energy, or even the money in that sense. But we'll do a write-off, and that's not always fun. But again,
on our taxes,
on our taxes,
because that's a business expense that we can put on when we're not paid for something.
Yeah,
you should.
Yep. And then lastly, there have been people that we've sent reminders to, and again, just not heard anything back. But they've been people we've worked with before, and they'll get back to us, but it'll be through the form of wanting Todd to do a project. And so we've just agreed that we'll be in contact back. Todd and I will keep in contact as far as whether or not that person has paid. And if he says, has this person paid that outstanding invoice, we'll just, say yes or no. And then if it's no, the project, Todd lets the person know, I'll be happy to do the project, but we do have an outstanding invoice. And they've always paid it. And then the next time they've paid it too. So again, one person in 2021 that didn't pay. And overall, I would say there have been 4 to 5 people that haven't paid. So that's pretty good.
Is there ever a time where that happens, like Mom just said, where somebody hasn't paid you and they say, hey, we got another thing for you? Do you ever not threaten them, but just say, looking forward to working with you again, but I'm not going to be working with you until you pay me for that past project? Is that kind of what you say? Is that kind of what she was saying?
Yeah.
I'd like to work with you, but there's still an outstanding.
I don't think I'd have to have Mom help me, but I think we go the extra mile. For one thing, we are patient and kind. We put the onus on ourselves. We stay in front of them. We don't bug them. So it's not like, they don't have any excuse. But if they come back multiple times and it's like pulling teeth, then like if there's an outstanding one, I would say, we want to work with you, but there's this, and we've reminded you, there's a line you have to have. And I understand that. We're not trying to say that you never stand up for yourself. We do. We just do it in such a way that's appealing to people. It puts the onus on us. It's a soft sell marketing thing because nobody wants to be bothered. And if our basic thought is, I think these people want to do what's right, I think they want to pay us, then that's going to serve you well. You can't be naive, though. And in the business world, you've got to also come to the point sometimes, your point and Mom's point, where you draw the line in the sand and you say, if this is the way it's going to be, I can't work with you anymore. Sure. Because we're not going to keep writing things off and working for, quote, free or half price or whatever we get from the IRS for writing that off. So yes, but that's so rare. Sure. It's just so rare. And a couple of other things, and you can add some things too, Becky, if you want. One of the things that I remember is that the people that are my clients, not the end clients, but the people in between, the video production companies, ad agencies and such, they're creatives too. A lot of them say, I just hate this side of the business. I just hate paying bills. And I'm sorry, I haven't got my checkbook out for the last month. I'll pay you right away. They like to be behind the camera in the editing suite, doing storyboards. They like all that kind of stuff. They don't picking out music. They don't want to be paying bills and stuff, but they have to because they're a business, just like we have to because we're a business. And so helping them in that way and being a service to them and not haranguing them, I think that's important too. But I can't say it enough that one of the things you do very well is you do soft sell marketing on every invoice. And it's not weird. It's not, we're looking forward to working with you and please hire us. It's not that stuff. We just really enjoyed working with you. Thanks so much for your business. And let us know if you need some help. Those types of things. Those are things that resonate with people. And so does being a partner with them. So I guess one of the things we want to really communicate in getting paid for your work is try to give them that we're in this together. We're business partners. You're trying to, help your end clients, impress their clients. We're trying to help you impress your end client. And all we want to do is get paid for it. And so we're here to help you do that. So anything else?
Yeah, I guess, again, just that in doing so, we want people to succeed. We want them to do well. And that's why there's a difference in our minds with if you have more time than money, then the Word documents or whatever form you might have. Maybe it's Excel spreadsheet like Hudson has, or if it's QuickBooks. But again, it's important to be organized. You have to be organized to keep it going.
Yep, organized and disciplined. It's part of being in business. And Demond will be putting up some things here,
Points,
like some
that.
points and also some visual aids to some like sample email and some things like that. And this isn't an advertisement for QuickBooks. I know there are other online
We don't get
marketing things. Yeah, we're not getting
anything
paid.
from
It's just
them.
the ones that it's just the one that we use, and it's simple for us and it works for us. And so that's why we're talking about QuickBooks and Microsoft Word. So I don't know if you have anything else. If not, we'll close things up.
Nope,
But
that's
thank
it.
you for
Yeah, thanks
being with
for-
us. Again, it's getting the work, it's getting the work done, and it's getting paid for the work that's done. That's this whole idea. That's something that I think is missing in voiceover business. And so we just wanted to come to the folks and tell them about how we do it. If you have questions or comments, we'd be glad to hear them, glad to field them, and help out in any way we
Yeah,
can.
any help that we can give, we'd be happy to. Even if it's keeping a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet like I do. I know that saved me this year with my taxes,
Yes.
that I had a detailed thing. So anyway, all good?
You're good.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Mom, thanks for bringing that stuff, and we'll see you later. Well, thanks, Mom, for coming on and doing that for us. If you ever have any questions, ask, Dad, ask Mom. We'd be happy to answer them for you. Next, we have our Anything But VO having a little bit of fun. So Drew's going to have something for us. We should have both couch potatoes here. Maybe I'll be lucky enough this week to be one of the couch potatoes. It's always fun to do that. So join us for that next.
All right, so, I think people really, really enjoyed the facts about Alabama.
From the overwhelming comments that we received, they said, let's keep doing that.
Not Alabama again, but let's do more states.
Right.
Alabama was the bear wrestling state, right?
It was.
Okay.
Keywords, remember keywords. We want to make sure that we do keywords like hashtag Alaska Adventure, hashtag
Bear wrestling.
bear.
Hashtag the last VO frontier.
Those
Could even
types
do
of
that,
things.
too.
Yeah. So we get more views.
Oh, because
That's
we're
what I'm
all
saying.
about views.
Yeah, we want clicks.
Yep.
All right, let's get into it, Drew.
All right, so we're doing the state of Alaska, and we've got some of the same information here regarding, state flower, bird, tree, that kind of stuff. Not as Alabama. They're not going to be
they're
the
not the
same.
same.
They're not going to be the exact same, but it's going to be the same type of information.
Oh, okay.
The population is, I was a little bit surprised. I knew that they weren't very populous, but their population is 736,990. So they don't even have 1 million people in Alaska.
It's a beautiful thing.
I would like to know how far the people live, because that is a huge state.
Yeah, I think it's. I think if I read it correctly, I think that it's because it's just there's miles and miles and miles, the square miles I'm talking about. I think that they say that you'd have each person would have 1 square mile, which is kind of impressive because that's a lot of
1 square mile.
But like they said, if you compared it to, I think it was New York City. I'd have to double check that. But there'd be 16 people that would live in New York City, because I think it's like 16 square miles or something like that, if for comparison. So there'd only be 16 people that would be able to live there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But today is not about New York. Today is about Alaska. So let's hop
Stop
off
making
that
it
train.
about them. Yeah,
All right, the state flower is an alpine forget-me-not.
we'll try not to.
Which is a picture right there.
Yeah, we'll put that on there. The state bird is the willow ptarmigan with a P on the front of that word.
Ptarmigan.
Some like to joke that the state bird is really the mosquito, Which I thought was a good joke. That's a good joke. That's a good state joke. The state tree is the Sitka spruce.
Okay.
State motto is North to the Future. Not unlike the
North
song,
to Alaska,
North to Alaska.
baby. Yeah,
That's a good song.
it is.
Why? Can I ask you a
Way
question?
up north.
Why would they say that mosquito? Is it kind of boggy, marshy in a lot of Alaska?
We're getting outside of my knowledge base.
Or are the mosquitoes so big that they look like birds?
Oh, maybe. But we have a lot of
Oh, yeah,
mosquitoes
around
around
here we have a
here
lot of
because
mosquitoes.
we live next to the Wisconsin River.
Maybe they
Mississippi
just
isn't
get
that
bigger.
far away.
Maybe just get large.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
They got a lot of yoked mosquitoes up there.
Lifting lots of weights up there.
They're spending the
There's a lot
entire
of time to do it.
They spend the entire winter just getting yoked, and then they get out once they come alive again. State animal is the moose. The state mammal, technically. But those have you ever seen those videos online of like a moose coming into town, like Alaska or even out, Maine or a place like that? And then you go to like Cabela's or something, and you stand by those things. They're larger than horses, and they have huge antlers.
Their legs are so long.
They're just so big. They're incredibly big. They'll sometimes be like a video of a moose coming across
a road or something.
and it's unbelievable how big they are.
And they have a tendency. I don't know what they're like, but growing up in the 60s, we had Bullwinkle and Rocky, the flying
Rocky and
squirrel.
Bullwinkle, yep.
And he was not aggressive or anything, but I think they can be. They can be problematic as far as
I would think they're big
hurting
enough to
you,
be.
like in the rut maybe, or
Yep.
if yeah.
They're huge. It's like Drew said, they got like the body of a horse, but their legs are
But they're even bigger.
3 times the size of horse legs.
Yeah, so they got to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yep, they do. The state insect, if anybody was wondering, is the 4-spot skimmer dragonfly.
Wow.
They have some
It's not
spots on
mosquito.
them. It's not a mosquito.
Okay.
That's the state bird.
Oh.
Well, that's the joke that they have in Alaska, which that really goes far for them.
It's a great work joke.
That's a great work joke. State nickname is the last frontier, or as mom might say, frontier.
Did she say that?
She said frontier the other
one
day,
time.
about a
Frontier.
month ago, and I started to wonder, have I ever heard her say that before? And if
We
I had,
all have our own. We have all our own.
Yeah,
we
frontier.
Okay, but like we've all said some wrong things from time to time.
Sure.
Never.
Does she really think that it's frontier? It's frontier?
Well,
Spokane?
she was also Spokane, Washington.
Well, she says
She said, well,
Cooper.
that's what
But
I've
you've
always
had
thought.
some, haven't you?
I don't know. Probably not. Let's not share those.
Hasn't Drew had some?
I know I haven't ever had any.
I think back when I
I
was
think Drew sometimes he tries to. I haven't heard him necessarily recently, but he's had used a word that didn't make sense
in the context.
of the sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of
No,
that going around.
sometimes you'll do it too, but I get so afraid of mentioning it that I just I don't say it.
Yeah, he'll shut you down right away.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan has a memory of he has
Unrivaled.
He has a memory of
Like an
pulling
elephant.
things out.
He holds on to things.
Pulling things out and being able to use them against you that are, I mean,
Decades
years
old.
and years.
Decades old.
Decades
Yeah,
old.
you don't want to grow old
You
with
never
him.
know.
Don't want to grow old with him. No.
He comes off in the podcast as a real quiet church mouse, but he can really
He's
zing
got
you.
some cutting.
He can really zing you.
Yep. All right, here's some just really, really fun facts about Alaska.
Good.
Alaska has 591,000 square miles, 375 million acres. That's what it equals. And is double the size of the next largest state, Texas.
Double?
Wow.
Wow.
Talk about everything being bigger in Texas. Well, what do they say about Alaska?
2 times bigger in Alaska.
True. Just like that. Just do the
The
math.
mosquitoes, I mean, like you talked about, I'm sure the mosquitoes are 2 times the size of the mosquitoes in Texas.
If you want to get away, I mean, get away, get off the grid, get away from people.
Unplug.
That's a place to go.
Totally unplugged.
Yep.
Yep, get off the grid is right.
We might have to find some voiceover people from Alaska. That'd be kind of interesting.
Have you done any work for anybody? I have one Alaskan client that has used me a few times, a video production company. I've just done local, like, commercials for them.
In Juneau, maybe?
I think it was
Anchorage.
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 Anchorage is the biggest city, isn't it?
I think so. Yep.
Juneau is
the capital.
the capital, though. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See, we know a lot more about Alaska than we let on sometimes.
Alaska is the most popular state for flying in the U.S. One of every 58 Alaskans is a registered pilot. 58.
Well, that makes sense because
You got to fly everywhere.
Yeah.
I suppose
Probably as common as driving, when you need to go place to place. John had a friend in college that was from Alaska, and she talked about having to go for like high school sports.
Yeah,
They had
in
to
a
fly?
plane.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, that's
some, but
cool.
a lot of it was also they do ferrying too, because in between the what are they, islands or whatever. Or
There's some islands out there.
there's some
yeah.
islands,
That'd be weird.
and so they would go. And I think that because of the distance of like who was in their conference, they'd maybe go and play 3 games, and they'd stay overnight. So they could get that. So they just like we do around here.
That
We
trip, done with.
play throughout the year. Those teams in our conference, they're more do it in one fall swoop. They play all 3 times.
One
foul
swoop.
Fell swoop.
One foul
Fell
swoop.
swoop. That's right.
Maybe the foul.
There it is, right there.
Boom.
One foul swoop.
Recent.
That's a foul. That was a party
She
foul.
wasn't-
right there.
she wasn't
That's a
pilot, was
podcast
she?
foul.
No,
Did she even though she was like just flying on the team, she didn't upgrade to pilot, did she?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But some of these people fly enough that they might.
Freaking
Did she
flyers.
get credit though for flying, like Amelia Earhart did for just
Oh.
riding?
Yeah.
I
Could
doubt
be.
it.
I don't think so. Amelia got the credit for that. I don't think anybody else is going to get that now that
Yeah.
she's had it.
All right.
On July 7th, 1958, the U.S. Congress voted to admit Alaska into the Union as the 49th state. I believe Hawaii is the 50th. President Dwight D. Eisenhower did it.
Okay.
What year was that? 50?
58.
Oh.
He signed it into law or whatever because they did it in July. The Congress did, and then
What year
January.
was Hawaii?
I don't have.
I was
that
just trying to think
information.
if I was born after all of the states that we currently have, or if I was, because I was born in 1960.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
was
when.
just
I don't know when
wondering.
Hawaii was on. We'll
Not
get
that
to
that's
that.
important to anybody else.
We'll follow up with that.
It
We'll
is
circle
interesting
back around
though
that.
to be born when a state became a state.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Because
kinda
I
thinking.
never had that,
It-
and I don't know if we'll ever have that
Did we?
on our side.
Puerto Rico. Did they ever talk about that becoming a state?
Well, are you
again?
planning on being born?
No, I'm just saying that if you had one within the state, if you had one while when you were
Yeah,
born,
when
and all of a sudden you were watching the CBS News or whatever, and you all of a sudden heard that Hawaii became a state. Well, I don't know if we'll ever have
So
that
when you're
experience.
coming out of the birth
No, I'm
canal,
saying-
you're listening to CBS. You're saying, "Wow, that's a lot of fun to be a
Yeah.
part of that."
No, but if let's say that somebody like your brother or whatever was 4 or 5 years old, and all of a sudden you're sitting watching the news, or you're in school and you hear that something's becoming a state, a place is becoming a state. I never think about that.
Yeah, it's not. It hasn't. Yeah,
Never
it hasn't
thought that-
happened
yeah.
in probably 60 years. I would think.
Yeah.
At the very least, or at the very most.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not.
Where did we
Maybe
did we get Alaska from the Canadians? Is that where we
No,
most
the
likely?
Russians.
Oh, we're on the Russians.
Yep, bought it from the Russians.
All right.
$7.2 million.
Oh, so that must have been
There's-
something on here that you.
Nope.
Did I jump the gun? Oh, yeah.
No, you didn't. I go online
He's
and
Alaska
I
and
fill my
he's-
memory bank with that kind of
He's an
stuff.
Alaskan
Alaska buff.
historian.
I've
Yep.
become one just
Yeah.
recently. If
You
if all of the information on the internet that I've been reading is correct, boom, I've got
Well,
it all
if
right
you're-
here. I'm ready
If
to
you're
go.
like some voiceover people, they get into voiceover, and a month or two in, they're all of a sudden they're an
Coaching,
expert.
yeah.
So if
Yeah. There's no reason that you can't.
I'm gonna start coaching people on going to Alaska.
yeah,
Why
and
don't
flying, you might already be a.
Down
You
at
do
the,
tour guides.
Let's do this down at the community building, down in
Set up
downtown
a little
Mesa. We've
table.
got
Yep.
set up a table and just say Drew's going to be speaking about Alaska. All you got to do,
Have you ever been there? No, but I read a lot about it online.
and he's got
I've had
pictures.
a
You got
month.
pictures. Did you take these? No, I didn't take these pictures.
Got them off of
But
Google Images.
they're on the. I think people would. What would you charge them? $1 a head, $2 a head, maybe.
I feel like with the knowledge I've just gained, at least $5 to get in. You know,
All you need is about, if you can just get 10 people to buy into that.
$50.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a good night's work.
All right. The Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race is a famous 1,000-mile. They give you kilometers, but I don't know what that means. It just means 1,000 miles.
That's not real people stuff.
Race for Anchorage, from Anchorage to Nome each February. The Iditarod record was set in 2011 by John something Baker. Also the first native I've read this before, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's INUPIAQ. I feel like that was just, that's not meant to be pronounced.
Well, go ahead and get that at like pronounce.com or something like that before you do your seminar.
That's what I should have
down
done.
at
You're
the
right.
Mazo
You're right.
Community Building. Because
I'm just gonna scratch that.
If you use that
information.
word, if you use that word precisely, a lot of people will be like, "This guy's
Might
definitely
bring more
he's
people in.
He
definitely
definitely
he knows how
knows.
to say this word." I mean,
Yeah.
only true experts know how to say that word.
There you go. So he won that 1,000-mile sled dog race in 8 days, 19 hours, 46 minutes, and 39 seconds. I feel like that's quick.
I feel like
I mean,
he's getting an
obviously-
awful lot of credit too, because
All
The
he
dogs
did
are doing
was
the
once
riding.
again he rode.
it's the dogs that have
Where
got.
did he jump on and
He's getting
put the
a
dog
lot
on
of
the thing and start
Although
doing it himself?
I've seen a few things on the sled races, and they got to feed them. They've
Yeah.
got to keep them warm.
Yeah.
They've got to put booties on them.
I'll bet you any money if there's an Iditarod driver watching this right now, which there probably
Probably
isn't.
a lot. Oh.
But
When
if
we
there
put
is,
it
there
as
will be.
they're
Alaska.
steaming mad at us.
Yeah.
There'll be comments saying, "Do you realize?" I mean, like me, I like dogs a lot, but I like what I like doing is just sitting by the fire with one dog, not whatever 8 of them out
In
in
the
freezing.
cold.
Yeah, no way.
You're not really built for that.
No.
I don't think many are. Legendary lawman Wyatt Earp served as Wrangell or Rangel. Probably should have got the pronunciation out of that. Wrangell, Alaska's sheriff for 10 days in 1867 as he and his wife were passing through on their way to Klondike.
What did they say? Just, hey, you want to be our sheriff for 10
Honorary.
days?
Maybe they had some rowdy folks there, and they said, "Hey, do you mind for 10 days just helping us out here?"
Well, think about it. If they knew who he was, and his reputation preceded him, then he says, "I'm Wyatt Earp.
right.
You mind cleaning up the town before you go through here?"
Yeah.
Be a good deal.
Alaska boasts both the highest point, Mount Denali, at 20,306 feet, and the lowest point, the Aleutian Trench, at 25,000 feet below sea level in North America.
But that's in the ocean. The
It is.
Aleutian Trench.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's Alaska's property, so they get to claim it.
Okay.
So, whatever.
No, please ask it. Could be
I was
gold.
going to say, I understand it's below sea level, but I thought it had to be on land. It couldn't be under water for it to be below sea level. Does that make sense?
I think so.
I thought it had to be dry land. Like it had to be like a,
Like, was it Death Valley or whatever, or Death? What's the place in California?
Death
for
Row.
that? Not Death Row. What's that place called? That's low point there.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. I mean, the city of New Orleans is below sea
Yeah.
level.
that's what I was
going
wondering.
to his
That's a
point.
true
Is that
point.
maybe
Thank you.
that's what he was? Well, I was trying to figure out some
Like a
way to
crater.
save you.
Like
Yeah,
I just
Yeah.
figured that you didn't count it if it was underwater.
yeah.
I mean, it's on Earth. It's a point on Earth.
Oh,
so they
yeah.
call it lowest point on Earth. So it's below sea level. I mean, that's Earth.
Okay.
So I think that's where they're coming up with that. Whether it's below water, above, it's land, dry land, but it's below water. I think it's all land.
I think people that watch this are probably saying what these guys are doing is they're throwing out their knowledge, and they don't have that much. So what they do, they're expecting us this next week to go back and study these things and learn these things, but we never do that.
Yeah, when I wipe my mind of Alaska when I move on, that the next week I just
Until you have to prepare
what's Alaska?
For your Mazo Community Alaskan Adventure Seminar.
You got to
or
go back
webinar.
and look up
You're
that
like
word.
riding a bike then.
Yeah, just get right back on it.
Yep.
Anyway,
yeah, so that's that. Admiralty Island in the Alexander Archipelago supports North America's largest concentration of grizzly bears. An estimated 6,000 grizzly bears inhabit the Alaskan island, outnumbering the island's human inhabitants nearly 3-1. They have no law about wrestling bears.
that's just
there.
what I was going to say.
No laws about that. In fact, they they welcome it. All bear wrestlers. They
Come
say,
on up to
listen,
Alaska.
you don't want to do it in Alabama because that's going to be like manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
If you come up here, you can wrestle any bear you want to. You'll be outnumbered.
Plenty of suitors.
You'll be outnumbered 3-1.
Plenty of suitors. You beat one, you take on the next one.
Do they have any more information about grizzly bears? I like
that-
watching stuff about grizzly
Is
bears.
that the
Scary.
is that the place where they went and they filmed all those Coca-Cola commercials?
Those are polar bears.
Those are polar bears.
I know they're polar bears, but
Oh, okay.
Oh,
who's the polar bears?
so but what? In
Maybe
your
they-
mind, with that joke, did you not realize that they were grizzly
No,
bears?
I
or
just-
you were thinking
I just
Coca-Cola, and you just
figured
thought,
that they
boom,
were
let's land
bears.
that joke.
And I just thought a high concentration of bears. Maybe they just filmed them gave them some Coke and
And then did CGI and turned them into
Turn them
polar
into polar
bears.
bears.
possible.
Boy, you just never know.
It's a lot of work.
All right, last little tidbit here. Alaska has no poison ivy or poison oak.
Huh.
They do have cow parsnip, I think it's called. So you got to watch out for that, because I think that'll be, it's an irritant.
Is it, maybe it's because of the temperature and
I would guess maybe.
humidity,
Yeah, I
different
don't know.
things like that?
I think I would take the poison ivy and that stuff than some of the wildlife that they have out there. Not that I wouldn't want to see it, but if you're just out jogging someday and you see a bear or a moose,
I'd much
or
rather
some
run
other
into
things like
some-
that. I think I'd rather take the poison ivy for a couple weeks or whatever.
Well, what about the Iditarod? Going back to that for a second,
Yeah.
do those guys? They're with the dogs. It's nice to have companions, but they probably maybe have to deal with some wildlife too. I would think you're out and about.
Yeah, I would.
Well, I think what
imagine.
happened is when Alabama made the law that you couldn't wrestle bears anymore. All those people that were really good at wrestling bears, they moved to Alaska and they started doing the dog racing stuff. So that if they got out there, they would be able to race, or they'd be able to wrestle any bear that came at them.
Well, maybe more bears moved up from Alabama to Alaska.
They were tired of being wrestled.
Well, or they wanted to really show their stuff up in Alaska.
You're connecting.
I know. I'm trying.
That's the first time.
There's this video. I think it's a meme. It was like supposed to be like a Russian guy or somebody from Alaska, but the bear is fighting him. It's
I've seen that too.
I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hard to move on from that. All right, so we've got some weird laws, and we are right up against.
we can pause it and
Let's do
and
that.
come
No,
back.
we'll edit.
We'll
this
take a
out.
break, and we'll be back with what was that? Did you say some
Weird laws.
weird laws?
Yeah.
All right,
Hopefully, no more weird comments.
I can't promise that. All right.
All right, so I just have a few weird laws. They had like 10 online, but some of them were just kind of, I don't know. They were just not as hilarious. So here, weird law number 1, and again, it's another bear. You can't wake a sleeping bear to take a selfie. I don't know if that's how the law reads. It's that. It says the information here is just let the sleeping bears lie. This law was put forward to protect hibernating bears, since tourists would waltz into the dens and disturb the animal's seasonal slumber. Although there is no jail time for this offense, you could risk walking off with a fine or worse, your life.
You'd be walking off with your life? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. That's what the internet said.
Those are things that that would never cross my mind.
No.
to do that.
No. To go into a dark den. I mean, I don't care if there's no bears in there. I just the off chance there could be something in there. I just
Well, there could be bats in there. That
which would
scare
you more than a hibernatorian.
Or even just spiders and stuff like that. Why would I go into that? That doesn't make any sense to me. When especially there are a high concentration of bear up there. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. That you would need that kind of law. It would just be. It seems like it would just self-regulate.
Yep.
So and so went in there and got mauled. We just don't. Everybody, hey, we just don't do that kind of stuff.
Doesn't even seem like there needs to be a law about it. Again, it's just.
Well, if you have a law about it, people are going to want to be doing it more. You know what I mean? You tell somebody to not do something, they're going to want to do it more.
Tried it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well, now I'm going to try and take a selfie with this
Forbidden
slumbering
fruit.
bear. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like fishing in Lake Marion here in Mazomanie.
Don't do it.
You can do that, right?
Yeah.
You can
now
fish
you
in
can.
Lake Marion. Okay, for a while maybe you could.
Just no bottom fishing because you might stir up the
Oh
seal.
yeah. That's
Break the
that's a
seal.
topic for another time.
Yeah. Another law is children should not build snowmen taller than themselves. Alaska has experienced pretty severe snowstorms, and during these situations, it is hard to distinguish between the snowmen and real children covered in snow. So I guess there's a law that they're not supposed to, build them taller than yourself.
And what would be the danger of?
Wouldn't that be worse? Wouldn't
Because
you?
if somebody's buried in there,
Oh, I see.
I think
Okay.
they're trying to distinguish whether it's a real person or
Well, that's
So
interesting.
you don't want one taller. So you can't do one taller than yourself. So you could do one the same height as you. Wouldn't that be worse? Because that would look more like a kid, wouldn't it? Instead of just this real big. You know what I mean?
I kind of understand what you're saying. I don't understand the law.
Yeah.
Maybe they've had multiple situations where they've been feverishly they've been all the townspeople have been trying to unbury these snowmen, and then it's like it's just a snowman. Or there've been times where that's just a snowman, and it's been a little child
missing,
freezing.
I suppose if there's a child missing and
Yep.
it's snowing a lot or has snowed a lot,
Yeah.
or you got blizzard conditions,
Yep.
that might
They
make sense.
fake people out. Yep.
We figured that out.
I don't think we did. Last one that I have is no drunken moose in town. City officials in Fairbanks, Alaska have made it illegal to give alcoholic drinks to a moose. They did so to try to stop a local tavern keeper from getting his pet moose drunk and to prevent the animal's frequent drunken rampages. Perhaps the guides on how to start an LLC in Alaska and how to find a great registered agent and can help you avoid any legal issues when opening or closing a business in this state. I feel like that was just a plug.
Yeah.
So their moose are angry drunks. We're hearing.
Something like that. Or at least this one was. Yeah. But I would imagine if he's impaired and it was kind of just stumbling around, that would be a large animal to be just...
Was it an animal rights thing or was it a people harming?
Safety.
I don't know.
Safety
I never
thing.
got anything on that.
So that's Alabama and Alaska.
Arkansas?
Is that right? Arkansas next?
I think it's Arizona.
Arizona.
Okay, Arizona. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So Arizona next. This will be the first state, if we do Arizona by popular demand, if people comment and kind of beg us to keep doing this, then Arizona would be the first state that we've been to, that we've highlighted.
True.
So talk about authorities. I mean, we've been to the Grand Canyon, we've been to Phoenix, we've been to Flagstaff, we've been to Tucson. We've just been all over the place.
Wilcox.
And that's when we went to Mexico.
Yeah, down Nogales.
Okay. So if we do Arizona, you
gotta
have
wear
to
your-
bring
sombrero.
something that you got in Arizona or something that represents something that's what we've got to do. You've got your sombrero.
I think I
You've got
still have
your
that
thing.
Lakers carpet, whatever.
Wasn't
thing.
there just real quickly, wasn't there something like this thing that fit into the like 4 or 5
Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah.
Yep, Joe
Like-
got that, I think.
with with the Lakers,
yeah.
the Los Angeles
Kareem
Lakers
Abdul-Jabbar
of the 2000s or something like that,
It
80s or
had,
90s.
I think it had
Magic
Johnson.
Kareem.
Yeah, they were a little behind, but
James Worthy.
yeah, I think it had like the 80s
Yeah, okay.
Lakers, Showtime Lakers.
We gotta have those as
I think
props.
Joe might have those.
We gotta have those as
I
props.
think it was Joe that got
Because
them.
that was our Arizona trip back in 2004 or something like that.
I was 7, yeah.
Was it?
Nope, because it was right after my surgery, which was 2003. So
the next summer.
it was that.
So you would have still been
We had to
7,
cancel the tickets
potentially.
because we were going to go. We had planned the time ahead. We went later that in the August after I was cleared to
John
go
had
fly.
brain surgery.
I was 7.
We also have at least one person, Mike Hathcote, lives out there.
Oh,
in
yeah,
Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
he can check us on it if
The
he
Zona.
takes the time to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put together some fun holidays. Since we're recording this technically on Saturday morning,
Okay.
if you couldn't tell, we just got such a nice deep bass voice
Mhm.
for my morning voice. Color TV Day is today. So that's a fun holiday. I'm not sure. Watch TV, I guess. Watch color TV. There's also a great American backyard camp out. That's today. So we should
Camp
Head
out,
out
in
and-
the,
You guys
camp
used
out
to
in
do
the
that
rain.
once in a great while.
Yeah, we did.
Borrow a tent or something like that. You guys did that once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't have them.
to get our
No.
camping fix.
We had to go
Yeah.
go out of our home to get camping stuff,
Yeah,
which
because
I'm now a
All
person
on
that doesn't.
board.
I'm all on board. I'm
All
not
on
doing the
board on
camping
that.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like that. There's so many pieces of camping that I like the idea of camping. Sitting around at night around a fire, I even like the smell of the fire. That's fun with the smoke and stuff. S'mores, that's good. Roasting hot dogs on there, that's kind of fun.
yeah, they taste great.
But I start to not like camping as soon as it's time for bed, because you're not in your regular bed, obviously, for the most part. You got to climb into a sandy, dirty tent, and you get dirt and sand everywhere.
Doesn't matter
Doesn't matter how hard
try.
you try. You got bugs maybe to deal with.
Yep.
If you got to get up and use the bathroom, that's a
Not good,
no-go.
Not good at all.
So
Just got to be built different, I guess.
if you could get a camping experience that allowed you then to jump in your own bed, in your own house, in the comfort climate of your own house, sign me up. But at this point, I've never heard of any camping situation that's like that.
I'm sure that we don't. I know we don't and haven't done it right. Camping. I mean, we've had bad experiences based on, I think, camping with others who don't know how to camp all that well. So there's maybe some people listening or people out there that do camping really well, and it might make it a lot better or make it a better experience. But I'm not convinced that I would be on board.
I would think RV camping would probably be an upgrade. If, like, let's say you could even duplicate the bed you had at home, so you have the same bed in your camper.
I think that would be probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Maybe a
obviously went
fan.
camping and
For some cool air
In
or
Zion.
just the noise.
that was fine. I mean, I don't mind doing that stuff, but
Yeah, you're a little more rugged than the rest of us.
a bed would be nice. That would be kind of nice to do all that stuff and then be like, oh, now I have my bed. That would just
Yeah.
be the cherry on top.
Yeah, but if I had gotten a really nice night sleep, which just doesn't happen for me camping, then climbing out, getting to have a little breakfast on a grill or a little skillet or something like that over the fire, smelling the outdoors in the morning. Again, we're right back to that's awesome. But
The one thing I did notice, I woke up early every morning, like a couple times before the sun was up. And it's a little bit hard to get back to sleep. At least it was for me.
You've done more camping than all of us put together. Well, Mom did quite a bit
She
of camping.
probably has done
growing up.
more.
She
I
likes
just started
camping.
doing it. I've done maybe 6 camping times. So I've gone 3 times with my friend Lance.
Yeah.
And he's nice to have because he's a avid
Expert,
camper.
yeah.
And
Seasoned camper.
And he's got just about everything. That's the one thing. That's go with somebody. It's like somebody who has a boat. Go with somebody who's done it a lot, who has a boat. Because if you forget something, they've got it because they've obviously gone through all of that stuff. So that's my little tidbit about camping.
if you're gonna go camping, go with someone that has a boat. That's
That too.
the
That would
takeaway.
be fun.
Go with an expert.
Yep.
And then right along this, if you will, is another fun holiday is the Great American Picnic Day. So have a picnic today. And there you have it.
And there it is.
I think those are always informational. I always learn a lot.
And I feel like some
And
of those camping,
Yeah.
picnic, those go along with Alaska. Color TV, not so much, but
they do.
those two did.
Yeah, I didn't get the colored TV thing because, I mean, none of you guys grew up watching black and white TV,
We did not.
right?
No, other than watching like Andy Griffith
Yeah.
or stuff that
Yeah.
was.
But this is the TV set. This is the
Yep.
TV. Yeah.
You went over to your grandparents to watch color TV,
Yep.
right?
Yep. In the mid 60s, because we didn't have a TV for a while. And so we went over there to watch TV.
Yep.
And then they upgraded to a color TV
Ooh.
in like 66 or something like that. And we were still on black and white. So that was special, watching Wonderful World of Disney and stuff like that on Sunday evenings. And
What was CBS's this presentation or this broadcast
CBS
brought to
presents
you?
this program in color.
In color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
And it
Peacock.
was-
Yep. And then the Peacock head would come on when it was color on NBC, and it would show like yellow, blue, red. Showed you could actually see
Actually,
colors.
that was fun.
Yeah. Yep. Great. Thanks for bringing that to us again.
You bet.
Yeah. Maybe we should just flash that disclaimer just at least once here at the end, just so that if anybody's new to this, they don't assume that we're experts, other than Drew.
Yeah. Right.
What dates will you be down at the community building, by the way?
Hey, I mean,
TBD.
Well, no,
be
I
announced.
think we should set a date. I think I've got some time off coming up here around in July, so it seems like a great opportunity to get paid at work for PTO for being off, and to get paid down at the community building. Yeah.
So some of our local people like Aaron and Cal and Ruben and BJ, those guys should make sure they get their tickets early, because people might be flying in
From Alaska.
and from people that are watching this all over the globe. Flying
Mainly,
in to
I think
listen
it
to
would
you.
be people from states that are planning to go to Alaska. But the Alaskans are going to be disappointed if they come down.
That's probably
So-
true.
But yeah, I mean, a five spot, that's easy. That's easy money, especially the entertainment that they're going to get, the entertainment value they're going to have, learning all sorts of things about Alaska. Drop a 5 spot down.
It's not that big
easy.
of a deal.
Easy.
That's easy these
It's
days.
worth every cent.
I give you 10, 15 minutes of Alaska knowledge. That's what I'll do.
Might be repeating some that you're on here, but you'll.
Stock footage from the internet,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could put for $5 a piece. I could probably get on and do a quick PowerPoint slide.
You
show.
could just show, instead of talking about it, you could just show that guy that we would watch on PBS all the time. Remember, he went there and he lived there. He built his own thing. That was always fascinating. On a serious note, that was he would do everything. I mean, that was just like all by himself. All by
So
himself.
you're saying I just put that movie on?
Yeah.
Just charge $5 a head for something. Yeah.
Showing him
Somebody else's work.
I wonder what would be a delicacy in Alaska, and I could bring something
Salmon,
and just
maybe?
have
Salmon,
a little, have a
sunset
little
king salmon or something
yeah,
like
have
that.
a little
is big.
salmon sandwich.
Yeah.
There's
Smoked
lots of
salmon
There's
sandwich.
lots of ideas. Let's we
Really?
need to be done here.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to just brainstorm about this
I
Alaska.
feel like we got plenty of ideas.
Yeah.
Again, it's a $5 commitment. It's not
Yeah.
that much.
Yep.
Get a little salmon sandwich and sit and I could have them there for, if I did that movie, could have them for 3 hours.
2-3 hours, yeah.
Just say it's a 3-hour
Tour.
of Alaska, the last frontier.
Drew-led tour.
Good plan.
All right.
Got it.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us this week.
One thing I was going to say
Oh.
real quick is with that disclaimer, and this is, I'm calling Demond out. But that disclaimer, he puts it up there for way too long. People know now about the disclaimer. And you just flash it, and then you got to get back to us, because there are some times where, we're the info. I just don't want it to distract people.
You don't want it to take away from you.
That's more so what I'm trying to say, but I'm glad that you pointed that
Yeah.
out.
The more of
But
us, the
sometimes,
better.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's up there for 4 or 5 seconds, and I'm thinking,
Where's
Get Drew's
me?
face back on there.
where's the podcast?
Yeah.
Where's the podcast?
Yeah. It's a good point.
We'll have to work on with Demond. We'll have to work on that this week. Cutting down the time.
Appreciate that.
So we might have an exciting this is a teaser for next week. We might have an exciting, we won't say for sure because we haven't scheduled them, but an exciting possible duo of local
another
people here.
father-son duo.
Yep.
So
right here on the couch.
right on the couch potatoes. Yeah. We probably won't have,
We won't be on here. That'd be a crowded
that would be
couch.
that would be four on that couch, and that would be quite the
pile up. Yeah.
All right. That's our 13th episode. So join us next week for our 14th episode. We've got a whole lot of things that are going to be interesting that week. So join us for that. That might be a little bit shorter because of 4th of July.
Yep.
So thank you.
Bye.